Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Brian's Life. Today I wanted to go back onto the budget of the Philippines because I want to approach it from a different angle, different style. And that's not to knock the other ones that are out there by any means of the imagination, because most of them budgets are based on what you would want to live on there, and of course it varies on what you want and where you want to live and entertainment. But I want to define the word budget a little bit more, okay? And what I mean by that, of course, it's an allocation of how much funds you have over a set of time. So are you saving for something else? Are you doing this temporary? Are you looking to move there? Are you, do you have a set amount? Now, of course, the more you have, the better you have, and that's common sense. But what I want to explain this time, the difference, what I'm trying to get at is comparable. I mean, you hear so many comments, can you live there on $500? Well, theoretically, you could. And even going with that scenario, there's a lot of negative comments when you see somebody talking here on YouTube regarding the budget in the Philippines. Can you live on $500? And I'm going to assume the person that has $500 a month budget, that means that's all they have, okay? So it's not like you're going to have $3,000 a month and you're going to say, oh, I only want to spend $500, otherwise I'm not going to do this. I mean, there may be those situations, but then whatever. So the question becomes, okay, let's take the $500 budget. Now, that's a very tight budget in the Philippines. You can make it work, and it's definitely doable. But more importantly, if all you have is $500, then where are you coming from? And that country that you're living in, I would assume that $500 is going to do far less for you. Now, I'm going to use Canada as comparison. Now, if you are on a low income budget, there's a few government programs you can qualify for, but let's assume you qualify for most of them. That's only going to bring you to about $1,500 Canadian a month. And most of those qualifications, if you move abroad, you will not be able to take those with you. In fact, a lot of them are provincial. So they'll only qualify while you're in the province. And while you're in the province, that means you can't even leave the province for more than 30 days. So going back to one of my earlier videos, if you're on a pension, government pension, and you just have a basic pension, you've never worked union job and stuff like that, you can probably estimate you're going to get around $1,000 a month without any of the other aids that could be or potentially available for you. And for some, it's even maybe a couple $100 less. Now, if you qualify for some extra aid, you can bump up, like I say, to $1,500. Now the question becomes, on $1,500 living in Canada, or let's assume you're only going to have $800 going abroad to the Philippines, how's that budget in comparison? Now, what I'm getting at is I would probably still choose the $800 in the Philippines versus the $1,500 in Canada, okay? That's the straight answer of it. Can you survive on that? Well, of course you can. And then you're going to, again, there's many comments you're going to see that they're negative and, you're just living and putting in time. Well, my argument is if you're only on $1,500 here in Canada, you're only putting in time as well, because as sure as heck you're not living a quality life, okay? The cost of living has gone up tremendously everywhere. That's affected everywhere. I noticed last time I went to the Philippines, just gas alone, and of course, once you regulate the gas, everything else goes up. But prior to the pandemic, I was paying, I believe, about $150 to fill my bike. A lot of times just shy of that. But now, the last year went back, it was 200, a little over 250, somewhere around there was pretty common price. So it's gone up significantly just on that. Now, my point being again is comparison, okay? The budget, yeah, okay, what is the budget to live in the Philippines? Yes, you could make it on $500, okay? I mean, it's a very tight budget, but I actually physically know somebody that's done it on, I believe, literally right on that for the first couple of years, because they went there before they received their old age security. So it's doable. You know, what's the comfortable range to live in the, well, I mean, that can vary. It depends who you ask, okay? I personally say you could probably do it pretty comfortable on $1,000 Canadian. I found an apartment in Dumaguete, for example. I've mentioned this before in one of my other videos, and so on and so forth. But I don't want to focus on that as much. What I'm trying to really say about the budget is, if you're changing your life because of budget and you're looking how you're going to retire, how you're going to live the quality of life, you got to ask yourself where you're coming from. What does that dollar give you where you're at? And I can only speak for Canada. I'm going to assume US, North America as a whole. You know, if you're making anything shy of $2,000 a month, you're just putting in time. That's all you're doing. You know, I can't see you having a lot of extra money at all. You know, so if you're on a low income, fixed income, now again, it depends what kind of investments and all this kind of stuff. And if you have any, let's assume you don't have any, of course, and you get the bare minimum pensions, then that's not a life here either. You know, so my budget, my point of this video is what I'm trying to make is the comparison. You know, I see so many videos of budget planning in the Philippines, and I'll be making some myself. I'll be showing some videos of apartments and food costs, and I'll be breaking that down for travel and all that kind of stuff as well, because a lot of people want to know, of course. But what I'm really trying to get across is that it's important to know the difference. If you're looking to retire, if you're looking to have a quality of a life, what you got to compare what your dollar does for you here at home, you know, and what's the difference, you know. And I can't stress that enough. If in Canada, you're going to know the prices, but power costs, insurance, gasoline, anything, a bloody trip to McDonald's, oh my gosh, it's expensive now. Everything's gone up. So, and that's everywhere. It's around the world it's being hit. But even without that inflation, you still got to look at what that money gets you in your home country. And I will say the budget is going to go further in the Philippines. That's the simple, short answer of it. And you're going to have a better quality of life. Now, if you have $2,000 or $3,000 a month income, then that, of course, is going to be different. It's going to be easier. It's going to be a much better budget to live on. And I see some blogs out there that say, oh, you need at least 3,000 US. Well, heck, I mean, that's living very, very comfortably then. I mean, that's fantastic, because I know I can literally do it on half that and live pretty comfortable. And again, depends where. If you're going to go downtown Makati or something like that and go eating out every night, it's not going to be that comfortable. You're going to, depending on what place you're staying in as well, I suppose, right? But I really wanted to stress the fact, the difference between what the money is going to get you back home. You know, everybody's focused on what you're going to get. And, oh, I can't live on 500. Oh, I couldn't. I would refuse to. I would refuse to live on 800. Well, obviously, if you have a choice, then you won't. So the difference is, when these people are asking, you know, why are they asking if you can live on 1,000 or 800? They're not asking because they've got $5,000 a month to spend. Well, they might be. They need to save up for something else. I don't know, but I want to make that really clear. If people are trying to figure out, can they make it on 500 or 1,000 and all this kind of stuff, you know, that's because that's all they have, you know. And I would say you could make it. Now, I don't recommend it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there saying anybody that's got that kind of income, pack your bags and go there. Because first of all, especially if you've never been there, make darn sure you get to go there and stay there for, I would actually say, a full year. See if you can manage the whole climate, that's all the seasons, you know, the temperature variances, the foods, everything. You got to stay there. And I don't care if you're making $2,500, whatever you're making, before you decide to move there permanently. You should be doing this regardless of your income, okay? I just really, like I said, I want to stress the fact many people are asking, you know, I get this a lot, even when I'm, you know, here, and I'll ask you, well, how much can you make it on? They're just amazed with the difference, right? So, again, like I said, I just want to put a flip side on this budget issue, because it depends on what you're doing with it at home in your own country. How much can you make, or how much can you live on in your country? And is it worthwhile to consider a switch, okay? A move. Now, there's certain things you got to be aware of. You got your visas, of course. You know, you've got your medical insurance and stuff like that. You got to add on top of that. your dental. There's other things to consider. And you bring this up because in Canada, for example, medical you don't pay for. And dental, they're starting to do a few free programs for that as well. So maybe in the future they'll have more dental coverage. But for whatever's not covered right now, which is basically all of it, except for kids, it's very expensive. Like I think last quote I got done for a crown in the Philippines was going to be $250 for a good one. They say it's the better one. I could have paid half that price. But if I wanted a good one, I think it was 10,000 pesos for a good crown. Well, here, I think a crown now is running around $1,600 for a crown. So that just gives you an idea, right? But again, these people that are asking about this, it's because they don't have the money, okay? And they want to know, is it worth going to another country? Now, I can't really answer that for the individuals all across the board because it depends on their lifestyle, what they kind of really want, or are they going to be able to handle the different reality of a different country. Like for me, I love it personally. Yes, it's fantastic, okay? But that doesn't mean it's fantastic for everybody. Just wanted to make it really clear about this budget situation here because I'm going to tell you right now, I would say for the majority of the people that if you are on a low income and you're just, if you're on a low income, you're just putting in time. I mean, let's face it. You might get a bus pass here and there from some kind of government aid. Okay, that's it. But you're trying to go and buy a lunch while you're out or anything like that. There goes your budget for the next week. I mean, it's crazy, right? So whereas there in the Philippines, if you do your own cooking and you budget a little bit your food there, it's going to go a lot further. Your travel inside that country is going to go a lot further. The weather is much more better in the winter for sure, and you don't get any snow. So anyway, I don't know if this helps you out or not. Anyway, with this budget situation, I will be doing a detailed budget because it's important for people to know that are just kind of planning, maybe checking it out for the first little while, and just so they know what's going to cost. That's a different scenario. I've been watching a lot of these things on the budgets. I've been really realizing that there's a lot of harsh talk as soon as it goes into the lower range, and there's a really good. I would suggest you watch this guy's channel. I'm gonna butcher his name, so I can't pronounce. Don Vandebong or something. Dan Vandebong. I think research it a little bit. Sorry, I'll try and get the name and put it in text on the video here later. But he makes some good videos about budget living, and I like his YouTube channel there. He's got some good information. So there's some other expats that have gone there on a lower income. Again, I see a lot of harsh negative talk about it as soon as you talk about the lower income and people saying, oh, you can't do it, I wouldn't do it, and this and that. And I've always, in the back of my mind, it has always bothered me to some degree because it's like, well, I understand you don't go there if you got $3,000 or $4,000 income here, and then you're going to go there and only have a $500 income there or something like that. You don't go that direction. But if you're very limited here already, and you are limited on your choices, my argument is that is definitely a step up in choice, okay? If you can handle the whole change. Everything's going to be different. The foods are different, the temp. Like I said, I can't say that enough. Everything's different, and you should go check it out in person before you make any kind of commitment as well. And I realize that is tough if you're on a low budget, because then how do you save up for a trip, etc., etc. But anyway, I'll leave you with that because that is something you want to do. I do know somebody that actually never been there and just packed his bags and went straight there, and and a lot of people I think actually do that. So anyway, if you want to drop me a direct question, I'll try and answer it as best as I can. For any kind of direct questions on budgets or visas or anything like that, I can help you as much as I can. But anyway, I want to touch base with that particular topic, and everybody take care and have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.